Coming up, Tzu Chi volunteers in the Philippines hold a year-end blessing ceremony at the Great Love Village in Palo. Tzu Chi volunteers in Taiwan help a family improve their home's sanitation by clearing away the clutter items. Welcome to DaAi Headlines. I'm Mary Lee. Thank you for joining us. We begin today's program with a series of year-end blessing ceremonies around the world. First up in the Philippines, a year has passed since Tzu Chi volunteers built the Great Love Village in Palo for displaced residents in the aftermath of Typhoon Haiyan. Recently, Tzu Chi volunteers returned there to hold the year-end blessing ceremony for the villagers.
A year after the Great Love Village in Palo was built, the place seems to be full of vitality. Tzu Chi volunteers have come to meet their old friends and to hold the year-end ceremony here.
First bow, second bow, third bow.
On the day of the ceremony, the weather is not favorable. Nevertheless, the volunteers drive a freight vehicle to the site, which serves as a stage for participants to share their experiences. As the ceremony ends in the evening, Tzu Chi volunteers hand out boxed meals and bread to everyone.
To us, today is quite special because we have been living here for a year. We want to thank Tzu Chi for helping the less fortunate people. We also want to contribute to society, even if that means making a small donation.
We want to donate money, even $1 a day. We too can help people, instead of getting help all the time.
Having built new homes for these residents struck by Typhoon Haiyan, Tzu Chi volunteers will continue to bring them love and care.
Next, we have more on year-end blessing ceremonies in other countries as we took a look at celebrations that took place in Germany, Malaysia, and China.
The year-end blessing ceremony organized by Tzu Chi volunteers in Shenzhen attracts a lot of community residents who have come to pray for a special cause.
A lot of disasters have happened in Shenzhen recently. We want to pray for the people in the disaster areas.
In addition to community residents, members of Blue Sky Rescue, who have been rescuing the victims of the Shenzhen landslide disaster, have also come.
We're very grateful to the Tzu Chi brothers and sisters who made 500 breakfasts and delivered them to the front line by 7 o'clock the next day.
To show their gratitude, the rescuers present a silk banner to Tzu Chi volunteers.
We have carried out different rescue missions for several years, and this one has been the most impressive one.
I asked our members if they have seen volunteers like the Tzu Chi brothers and sisters, and they said never.
As these rescue heroes commended Tzu Chi volunteers for their humanitarian spirit, they have also inspired all the ceremony participants to contribute to society. At the year-end blessing ceremony organized by the Tzu Chi Malaysia chapter in Penang, the participants are asked to take part in a problem-solving game, Human Knot, in which they have to untangle the knot without letting go of hands.
I am on the last team that joined the group, and I saw the best team. Members of that team let everyone else pass first before we passed through.
The team-building game is part of the year-end blessing ceremony. During the ceremony, the director's words point out their future direction.
We need to apply the Master's spirit of frugality to our work. I have faith in you.
所以我也是对你们有信心。
As other staff members recall their efforts during the past year, they're brought closer together.
The Tzu Chi uncles and aunts are very friendly. They teach me patiently. They are so tolerant of our mistakes.
希望大家平平安
I hope everyone can be safe and healthy. The staff members of the Tzu Chi Foundation are like family.
望能跟同仁他们是全部都是一家人。
Sharing the same ideal, these Tzu Chi staff members embraced the new year with a firm determination to serve the public.
For all those who decide to stay here, I hope they can find jobs and live happily with their families here.
Moving to Canada, every year the local Tzu Chi chapter organizes winter aid distributions with local charity organizations to help the homeless and teenagers who have run away from home. Volunteers hope that with their love and care, these individuals will finally find a safe harbor. Before the festivity begins, participants give themselves a round of applause. Next, Tzu Chi volunteers explain the reason behind Tzu Chi's good deeds.
Love. Everybody needs love.
An associate professor at National Taipei University of Education in Taiwan, Zhang Yuanshuo, who is furthering his studies in Canada, also joins in the volunteer work alongside his sister.
Tzu Chi really provides items that each person needs, such as jackets, gloves, and socks to keep warm with. Basic toiletries are a nice touch too.
In total, 108 gift packs were prepared for the distribution this year. This year also marks the 10th year that Tzu Chi Canada chapter has worked with the local Salvation Army to hold winter aid distributions. The recipients of the jackets were asked to try theirs on to ensure the fit was good. On the streets of Vancouver, Directions Youth Service Center is a place filled with love and respect for those in need of a place to go. The teen shelter not only provides a place for them to shower, do laundry, but also a meal to fill empty stomachs. Tzu Chi volunteers have also been a staple to the teenagers here in the past 18 years. A night of holiday festivities with an enjoyable vegetarian meal was filled with a lively conversation of young people. A volunteer who was at Tzu Chi encouraged everyone not to lose hope amidst difficult circumstances. Also in Vancouver, Canada, Tzu Chi volunteers celebrated Christmas by sharing holiday joy with those forgotten by society. In Coquitlam, faculty and students of the local Tzu Chi Academy made cushions in the shape of a heart to give to residents of a senior home. While at an apartment complex for the marginalized in Vancouver, Tzu Chi volunteers brought winter packs to keep the residents warm.
So can you come? Thank you.
In this apartment complex in Vancouver, Canada, Tzu Chi volunteers are inviting residents to come join them. The invitations are being extended with extra tenderness, as those living here are mostly marginalized. In place of a Christmas song is Tzu Chi's famed love and care for all. It all started 3 years ago when a prisoner heard this song when Tzu Chi volunteers visited. After his release, he moved here, but still could not forget the song and thus sought out Tzu Chi's help. Since then, volunteers have been visiting regularly to share some familiar warmth with the residents here on special occasions. Inside Tzu Chi's supply pack are winter clothing and socks. A winter jacket is also packed inside. The selfless love extended by Tzu Chi not only moved the residents, but also first-time volunteers.
I'm truly moved by this experience. At the same time, I'm reminded to cherish what I already have.
Christmas is a time to spread holiday joy and festivities. And thus, both faculty and students of Coquitlam Tzu Chi Academy delivered their handmade cushions to residents of a senior home.
These hard cushions actually is made by us, all the elves of Tzu Chi Foundation.
Next, Santa Claus appears and gives each senior a Christmas card from the students.
Let's best wish, best present for you, and a Merry Christmas.
Despite the winter cold, the warmth and joy delivered by these visitors had made these seniors feel warm all over.
Pretty much by now, all Taiwanese are aware of the problems of low birth rates and aging society that plague the country. Today, we will take a closer look and understand why these problems will affect us all by investigating the problem of labor shortage in Taiwan. In the classified section of Taiwan's newspapers, there are always job openings. By strolling through the streets of Taipei, one noticed wanted signs posted in stores one after another. Just how bad is Taiwan's labor shortage? According to DGBAS, last year the labor shortage in the industrial and service sectors increased by 48,000 people.
We estimate that this year will be the last year that we have a surplus in our labor force. Starting next year, we will have to face 180,000 to 200,000 people in labor shortages.
Four main factors contribute to the problem. First is the change in population. Second is the change in industries. Third is the mismatch between education and the need of industries. Fourth is the exodus of labor force. Currently, aging society and low birth rates are the biggest culprits. According to the National Development Council, Taiwan will officially be an aging society by 2017 and a super-aged society by 2025.
Aging population leads to aging workforce, as the number of people working will decrease along with low birth rates.
Yet at the same time, the unemployment rate remains high in Taiwan. This is because it is mainly the manufacturing sector that needs workers. In fact, the sector accounts for 50% of job opportunities here in Taiwan. But due to global price cuts competition, the sector can only afford to hire contract laborers.
There are a lot of contract laborers here in Taiwan. Unfortunately, we do not have laws to protect these workers. By continuing to rely on contract laborers, the average wage will continue to decline.
In developed countries such as Europe and Japan, there are laws that protect this non-traditional workforce so that these laborers will be protected from abuse.
In Taiwan, young people who should be the fresh blood to the country's workforce have decided to go into the cultural and creative industry or leisure-related industry due to the poor compensation of the manufacturing sector.
There's a mismatch between the development of our higher education and the country's development. Basically, the advancements of the country's industries cannot accommodate the talents the country has trained.
So then where do these talents go? According to the Global Talent 2021, published by the Oxford Economics, Taiwan comes in at the first in the world in the talent exodus. For every 10 people that choose to work abroad, 6 are trained talents. Job banks in the country have conducted a similar survey and discovered that 80% of those workers are willing to go work abroad, while 25% will not want to come back.
The average compensation provided by Taiwan's job market is lower than the norm, and thus people look forward to working abroad and working with people from different parts of the world.
Taiwan's economy is limited by its small market size. Also, due to the country's limited collaborations with other nations, workers are confined to work in the small market, which is why we cannot attract global talents and why there is the domestic talent exodus.
With the rise of the ASEAN, the job market in Southeast Asia has expanded by 2.7 times compared to 5 years ago. Soon, both Indonesia and Thailand will limit and even stop altogether the export of their country's laborers to Taiwan, which will exacerbate the problem of labor shortage here if neither the government nor the industry will take action soon. On February 4th, a Trans-Asia plane from Taipei to Jinmen carrying 53 passengers and 5 crew members hit an elevated expressway before crashing into the Keelung River, injuring 17 people and killing 43. After 5 months of investigation, the Aviation Safety Council concluded the accident was man-made. We'll take you to review the first plane crashing into a river incident in Taiwan's history.
Tilting 90 degrees, the plane hit both the expressway and a taxi before crashing into a river. This is the first incident of a plane crashing into a river, and the news shocked the world. It was February 4th. A Trans-Asia plane was flying from Taipei to Jinmen, but 3 minutes after taking off, it crashed into Keelung River, injuring 17 people and killing 43. The firefighters who arrived at the scene first still remember it clearly.
We were shocked when we first saw it because we guessed many people would need to be rescued. There were already 10 outside the plane, and there were probably more inside the plane.
After saving people on the river, the rescuers faced a major task of saving people under the river. The rescuers searched 30 kilometers along the river. Even divers from private organizations also pitched in as they wanted to offer their skills to help.
We felt we had to pay back to society. This is the same as your great love. We have no money, but we can still help. And diving was something we could do.
It was freezing when the divers came to help. The low temperatures were a major obstacle for carrying out the rescue work.
It's very cold. We don't think we can stay in water for half an hour. We then must come up.
The army provided us with hot water, so when we got up, we had to shower with hot water. And Tzu Chi volunteers also brought us blankets.
Long pulled into the scene when the last passenger was found on February 12th. The 9-day-long rescue work was officially over.
When we were carrying out the duty, we kept encouraging our staff that the families of the missing passengers had much expectation of us. We also hope to give them some closure.
5 months after the incident, the ASC went public with a recording of the conversation between the pilots. It seems the pilots had shut down the wrong engine.
The main pilot said he did reduce throttle to engine 1, and the co-pilot said he was positive engine 2 was shut down.
It seems that after finding out one engine had malfunctioned, the pilots shut down the wrong engine, causing the plane to lose power and crash. However, the final report won't come out until April 2016 and bring this incident to the end.
In Chaotou district of Kaohsiung, a homeowner who has mobility problems has not been able to clean up her house. As a result, her house had become so cluttered that her son had to sleep outside of the house. To help this family improve their sanitation and living conditions, local Tzu Chi volunteers mobilized to help clean up their home.
In this cluttered house, one cannot even find a space to stand. To help the house owner, who has mobility problem, more than 30 Tzu Chi volunteers have gathered to clean up the house this morning. The volunteers begin by removing the miscellaneous items outside the house. Next, they're ready to remove what is inside the house. With the piles of items in the house, one cannot even tell where the bedroom or kitchen is. As a result, for years, the house owner has been sleeping in a chair next to the door, while her son has to sleep outside the house.
Her son has to sleep in the air raid shelter, on the street, or in the courtyard. My heart goes out to them.
After cleaning the house, the volunteers also work to assemble a dresser and bedside cabinet for this family.
It became more spacious and clean. Now I can walk and sleep inside.
If I can stand on my feet again, I will join Tzu Chi volunteers in recycling.
After the cleanup, the house owner is delighted to see how her family can now stay in a clean house. To reciprocate Tzu Chi volunteers' assistance, her son has also begun to volunteer at Tzu Chi's recycling station, paying the love forward with his own hands.
Also helping those in need, in Malaysia, every third weekend of the month, Tzu Chi volunteers from Klan will host an event for stroke victims to come do some rehab exercises. At the latest event, new equipment was debuted, helping patients to regain the ability to walk smoother and longer. Each month, Tzu Chi volunteers from Klang, Malaysia, host an event for stroke victims to help with their rehabilitation. This month, volunteers debuted homemade rehab equipment.
In the past, their activities were limited to drawing or coloring. Look at them now. See how steadily they can walk up and down the stairs. Each of the patients has worked hard in their rehabilitation exercises.
Besides building physical therapy stairs similar to those used in hospitals, volunteers also turned many items found at the recycling station into rehab equipment.
Ours is a bit different from the hospital. It is not as long. Stair climbing is helpful for the patients to regain their confidence and courage. This way, when they come across streets that are not as smooth, they won't be afraid of walking across it.
Among the stroke victim is Yong Sui Moy's husband, who got into a car accident on his way to work. His path to recovery has not been easy.
I don't know how to help him, so whenever there are events like this, I'll bring him here. If it was held each week, I'd come.
With these new rehab exercise equipment in place, patients can rest easy knowing they are in good hands as Tzu Chi volunteers continue to help them on their long path to recovery. At the end of the program, we join some entrepreneurs in Taichung as they head into the mountains of Fengyuan for their monthly hiking trail cleanup. This recent event was joined by some former Taichung government officials as well. That's all the time we have for today. Thank you for joining us.